Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Okay, so late last night, US time, the WBC released their new rankings. Of course, this one, we're going to be talking about the heavyweight division. As I do each and every month, all the sanctioning bodies, I'll go down the top 15. I will point out any changes compared to last month, what fights have just been made in the last 4 weeks, what fights are coming up, what fights have recently happened, to try and justify certain people's positions. So if you are new to this channel, make sure you are subscribed to be updated with what's going on in the heavyweight division as far as the boxing rankings are concerned. Who else does this? Nobody. So get subscribing. Okay, so Tyson Fury is the WBC World Heavyweight Champion. Dillian Whyte is the WBC Interim World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, these two gentlemen will be having their fight next weekend, April the 23rd at Wembley Stadium. I'll be breaking down that fight in due course. So number 1 is Deontay Wilder. Number 2, Joyce. Number 3, Joseph Parker. Number 4, Frank Sanchez. Number 5, Andy Ruiz Jr. Number 6, Arsenbek Makhmudov. Number 7, Luis Ortiz. Number 8, Filip Hrgovic. Number 9, Michael Hunter. Number 10, Tony Yoka. Number 11, Otto Wallin. Number 12, Ajit Cabello. Number 13, Robert Helenius. Number 14, Martin Bakole. And number 15, Daniel Dubois. So, fights that have just been made. Well, you've got Andy Ruiz Jr., number 5. He'll be taking on Tyrone Spong on Triller. Of course, there's speculation. Has he left PBC? Why didn't he fight Luis Ortiz? All that kind of stuff. Andy Ruiz Jr. does what he usually does, which is he always takes to social media asking who it is that the fans want him to fight. Most people vote for Luis Ortiz. Then he puts out another post saying, are you all willing to pay pay-per-view for me to fight Luis Ortiz? A lot of people say yes, and he doesn't fight Luis Ortiz. This is what Andy Ruiz Jr. does. He's going to take on Tyrone Spong. He's an undefeated fighter from Holland, former kickboxing champion, I believe. Is it a fight that people want to watch? No. But it is going to be a fight in Mexico City, so I imagine Andy Ruiz Jr. is going to get some kind of support. I do rate Andy Ruiz Jr., but I'm not convinced about this particular fight. He's already had a tune-up against Chris Arreola. No reason for another one. Anyway, that said, Ajit Cabello, number 12, has actually been dropped by 5 positions. Reason being, who knows? I really don't know why he's been dropped. Maybe because he's inactive, because he is one of the most inactive heavyweights around. He has a good record of 21-0. His best win will be Derek Chisora, where Derek Chisora turned up to Monte Carlo without his trainer at the time, Don Charles. So how good is Ajit Cabello? We don't know. Of course, he is former European heavyweight champion. He was mandated to defend that against Joyce. Instead, he decided to vacate the belt. Not my opinion, fact. So that's Ajit Cabello. Daniel Dubois, number 15. Now he will be taking on Trevor Bryan for the WBA regular World Heavyweight Championship. It went to purse bid. Don King won the purse bid. When is this fight going to happen? Where is this fight going to happen? We're still waiting to find out. I know Don King was talking about going to court about changing the split. Currently it's 55-45 in favour of the champion Trevor Bryan. Don King believes it should be 75-25 in favour of his guy, Trevor Bryan. So we'll have to wait and find out what that one is. So effectively, Daniel Dubois being ranked in the WBC is a waste of a ranking because he's not fighting for any WBC version belt. He's fighting for the WBA regular World Heavyweight Championship. So that is a waste of a ranking. Much like number 2, Joyce. That's a waste of a ranking too because he's a WBO mandatory. So he's not going to be fighting for the WBC at all. So why is he ranked there? There's no reason for it. He's going to be fighting for the WBO World Heavyweight Championship at some point, providing, of course, he can keep his undefeated record going. Because obviously, if he loses, there's a good chance he could lose his position. Unless, of course, he has a rematch clause put in, which you imagine that he would. So if he does take an L, then he can always get revenge in the rematch. But point is, he shouldn't really be ranked in the WBC. Is that unfair to say? Maybe. Arsenbek Makhmudov, number 6, Russian fighter, of course. I know the WBA for 1 month only removed all Russian fighters, but this month, the WBA did put him back into their rankings. The WBC never dropped him. Number 6 is a high position for a 14-0. Yes, he's a huge fighter, big knockout power. He's an absolute beast. But who's he really beaten? I'd like to see Makhmudov fight somebody in this top 15. That would be great. I would really, really like to see him fight somebody in the top 15 to justify a number 6 position. So ideally, somebody in the top 10. Defeating somebody in the top 10 would certainly help. Number 8, Filip Hrgović. Again, he's going to be fighting for the IBF vacant mandatory position against Zhilei Zhang. So, again, waste of a ranking as far as the WBC is concerned, because that's not the route he's going down. He's going down the IBF route. So, absolutely no point to it whatsoever. Number 9, Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter, so I'm hearing, could well be fighting Hughie Fury next. And this could be some form of eliminator for the WBA, as Michael Hunter is number 2 in the WBA. Hughie Fury is number 4. So, firstly, we have to find out if that's going to be true or not. So, we do need some kind of announcement, and I imagine that'll probably be next week or maybe the week after, if, of course, that is the fight. Martin Bakole, number 14, will be taking on number 10, Tony Yoka. That'll be happening next month in France, in Paris. That's a very interesting fight. Of course, most of us do believe Tony Yoka only agreed to the Filip Hrgović fight, knowing full well he already had an outstanding contract with Martin Bakole that he couldn't escape. Most people do feel that, but of course, with Tony Yoka being trained by Virgil Hunter, good trainer, of course, and Martin Bakole being trained by, what's his face? Billy Nelson. I don't know why. I had a momentary blank on that one. But so that's going to be interesting. 2 old school trainers pitting their wits against each other with their new charges of Tony Yoka and Martin Bakole. Joseph Parker, number 3, which I should have really mentioned when I was speaking about Joe Joyce. They could well be fighting. So number 2 versus number 3 as far as the WBC is concerned. But that will be for the WBO mandatory position if, of course, they can get that fight over the line. They've been talking for quite some time. I think the delay, I don't know if it's financials or anything like that, but the delay, I believe, is whether or not Joe Joyce's wrist injury is fully healed yet. I think that might be what the delay is, but I have to wait and see. Number 1, Deontay Wilder. Listen, sure, he's former WBC World Heavyweight Champion. You do have to give him respect when it comes to the WBC rankings, but number 1, he's just come off 2 knockout losses in a row. 2. Should you be ranked number 1? No, of course not. Of course not. But I do believe that he's there because Mauricio Sulaiman likes him. I mean, he must do, because he was protecting Wilder for a long time, allowing him to have trash voluntary after trash voluntary after trash voluntary without mandating him to fight anybody good when his only 2 mandatories were against Dominic Brazil and Bermane Stiverne. So that's probably why he's there. So he may well be mandated to fight the winner of Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. Maybe that's why he's there. Mauricio Sulaiman's doing him a bit of a solid, I suppose. That's pretty much it. Nobody else has any kind of fights. It'd be interesting, though. I suppose the 2 outstanding fighters here who I haven't mentioned. Number 11, Otto Wallin, and number 13, Robert Helenius. They've both been on PBC shows recently. Why not just get them 2 on? It's a European fight. Maybe if Joe Joyce, obviously because he's WBC silver champion, WBO mandatory, does he need the European belt? Maybe he's already vacated it and I'm unaware of it. Maybe they can put the European heavyweight title on the line for Otto Wallin and Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius, of course, is a WBO gold champion, WBA gold champion for whatever that means. So that is top 15 for the WBC. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next video.